Episode 423, and here's Leah.
Hello, everybody. I came out of quarantine today just for you. But our whole office is quarantined. So how's everybody? How are you holding up at home? Is anyone sad, depressed? Don't get sad, don't get depressed. Find something to do. I've cleaned out every drawer, every closet, every garage niche, every storage niche. I have done everything down to perfect. And now I'm just scrubbing down the food and handing it out. I mean, what else is there to do? Gotta stay busy. Plus, we're still doing all of our sales and leahblack.com and shipping out orders every day, and the CBD's still flying out the door. The oil came in. You gotta read about, where do they read about the oil at?
On the website.
I'll go to the website.
And then we'll also be posting some additional marketing about it with your videos.
1,000 milligrams CBD oil. Cabanol. Can't get it anywhere but here. You're gonna love it. So anyway, oh, you know what I forgot to tell you? Remember, Friday they have the Housewives show. Season 2 is going to be on. So the last Housewives show they did, 2 weeks ago, they did season 3. I don't know why they did 3 and now 2, but anyway. And so, you know, we did that Instagram Live thing. And so someone researched that there were 4 accounts trolling me during that Instagram. So if you're a troll, we're on to you. We have your IT account. I love it. So RJ celebrated his birthday during quarantine. I think I told you that. Today he did his test in psychology as one more test in conspiracy theories tomorrow night. And then he's done with school for this semester. Oh my God, I can't wait. I literally, if you didn't go to MIT, you can't take those courses online. It's just too much what they put on these kids. But we're just grateful that he can do it online. Dottie, my little dog, my little terrier, got in a fight with the shepherd, and she had to have stitches. Had to take her to the emergency room, $1,300. Had to sit in the parking lot, wait for them to, she goes to the parking lot. Then they come and get the dog, and they take the dog in, and then they call you when the dog's ready to come get the dog. So I waited for an hour, and then I realized it was going to be a long wait. So I went home. This is at 11 o'clock at night. Till 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. Finally, I said, you know what? I'm just going to wait. They said, well, she's not awake yet from the stitches, so we don't want you to pick her up until she's awake. I said, okay, so I'm going to go to sleep, and here's my cell number, so call me when she's ready. They didn't even call me. 9:30 in the morning, I woke up, I ran and got her, and I could have picked her up as early as 7:30. So now she's all bandaged up for a week, and we got to get the stitches out this Friday. Oh my God, it's always something. So as soon as she gets in the car, I had to Lysol her down and make sure she didn't get picked up anything in the vet's office. Then I had to wait in the parking lot, and RJ was with me. I mean, this is just, it's on and on. It's, you know, we used to take so much for granted. We used to go, the dog gets bit. Paul, take the dog to the vet, go to the vet, wait for the dog, pick up the dog, bring the dog home. Now I don't trust anybody because I don't want them to get infected, so I do everything myself. So we scrub the car down, we get the vet, then we scrub the dog down, we wear our mask, we make sure we're not standing in the direction the wind is blowing, then the dog's there all night, then we go get the dog, then we have to scrub the dog down with Lysol again, then we have to scrub the car down again, then we take the mask off and the gloves off, the visor off. Oh my God, I mean, the stuff we used to take for granted. You know, this virus has slowed everything down. You know, everything used to be so fast-paced. Call Burger King. Not anymore. Put on your glasses. Put on your visor. Put on your net on your hair. You know, put on your mask. Put on another mask. Put on 2 pairs of gloves. Roll up your pants so they don't hit this on the ground when you're walking. Then you drive up. You order. Then you get out of the car and walk around, and then you get it, and you spray it all down in alcohol. Then they want to give you change. No, keep the change. I mean, it slows everything down.
Everything.
And the reason I go there is they have the Impossible Burgers, and sometimes RJ has to have a hamburger, and I cannot believe they eat meat still. I mean, with all the stuff going on in those factories with the meat, would you stop it? They're coughing and hacking and have viruses, and they're handling the meat. Oh, and then I can't. I'm talking about the
It's worse than a cruise ship.
It's horrible. Oh, I can't. Never. Anyway, I'll talk about that meat thing later. I put it in my notes somewhere. And so, well, I'll just talk about it now. They're euthanizing the pigs because they made too many. They grew too many pigs, and they can't cut them all, chop them all up fast enough. So they're going to kill the pigs. What are they going to do? Bury the fucking pig? I can't. How can you eat pork? And not only that, they have evidence to show that these little pigs know who their family members are. And they're like little herds, and they have feelings, and they care about each other, and they feel pain. And they're just growing them like artificial insemination, or having them, I don't know. And then they're growing them and growing them and growing them, and then they're taking them to the factories, and then they're just chopping them up, and then they're putting it on this assembly line, and then people are coughing on them. And they said to go to the bathroom, you have to have someone come sit in your spot, because you can't lose, like Lucy with the chocolate, Lucy and Ethel, you know, with the machines going like this, the purveyor belt, and you can't, you know, you can't miss like one little step of the process. And then you imagine they go to the bathroom, they kind of halfway wash their hands because they're in a hurry, and then they get back, and then, oh, I can't, and then they're chopping up the little pigs, and oh my God, just stop it. And then Trump is ordering them to go back and work in these factories without the mask, without the protective equipment, without the sanitation, without everything.
Yeah, he's using that rule to make them work instead of using the rule to make these companies do the tests or the masks or anything.
Or gowns.
Yeah. Well, in the last hour, they said that they're closing down the whole COVID-19 task force by Memorial Day.
Yeah, of course they are, because they don't want the truth to come out. They're in denial. They just want to move on to the election. That's what they want to do. But he's using it to make these people go, he's using it to make these people go and work in these factories. I mean, to me, that is criminal. If these people get sick in a factory because they were forced to decide between being able to pay their rent or eat lunch or feed their kids, and they die or get sick in a factory, they don't even have sick leave. How can you force people to go work in an unsafe environment? That is just nothing short of criminal. It's like, well, they're disposable. These are just little old nobody people. You know, we're all up here fabulous and you know, making all the decisions, and, you know, we're grand, and, you know, I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Yes. You can't make people go to work without a mask and a gown, and you can't put them in an assembly line that's not safe and that's too fast paced, and you can't make them choose between eating and feeding their kids and going to work. It just makes me so ill. Anyway, moving on. I can't. That's why I can't eat meat. I just can't. I just can't. So, Homeland, it finished its 8th season. Did you guys watch the whole thing?
No, I've never watched it.
You know what? Benji, you're at home now, and you have all this extra time on your hands.
Yeah, I don't have any extra time.
Well, you just need to go to season 1 and watch the whole thing. The ending. First, I'm not going to give anything away, but I was just furious at this one girl. Furious, like, I dare you betray. But then when I found out it was a season finale, I got it. What they were doing is showing really the core of each character and who they really were. And it was really brilliantly done. But anyway, I missed it.
I'm still trying to get over Westworld from Sunday.
Oh, I never watched that one. I can't. I don't want to get into it anymore. Then Billions started, but I missed it, but I TiVoed it. So that's coming up. And I'm still running my home food bank. Oh my God. Our oil came in, our 1,000 milligram CBD cannabis oil. And the good thing about that oil, so you know, is it penetrates all the different layers of skins, because it has really strong, powerful boosters in it that you can't get anywhere other than the Kavanaugh CBD that you get from me at 1,000 milligrams. It's expensive, but the raw ingredients are very expensive, and it takes 3 drops. You can do like your chest, you do your neck, do your lips. It gets rid of the fine lines and everything around your lips. It comes like this, and I'm telling you, 3 drops, it takes hardly any. It'll last you a very long time. It's worth the money because I created it for myself.
It's in a nice glass dropper.
It's fabulous. Yeah, it comes in a nice little glass dropper, and anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'll show you. It's so beautiful, isn't it? Anyway, moving along. And now we're deciding whether to come out with a moisturizing hand sanitizer. What do you guys think? I'm sick of those hand sanitizers that they literally chap your hands get raw, they get red, they're horrible if you use it the way you're supposed to. So we're thinking of coming out with one that has all the vitamins, nutrients, including CBD in it, and make it a moisturizing hand lotion type sanitizer. maybe we'll make it a gel, or maybe it'll be a cross between a gel and a moisturizer, but we're doing that right now. We're creating some samples to look at. What do you guys, would you pay?
They're loving the idea.
But here's the thing,
you should see
you'd
the
have
comments.
to buy three. You'd have to buy three
Yeah.
for probably $36 because we can't sell it individually. It's not worth the freight. But I mean, you can't find it. What you find is just horrible.
Some of it's so soapy and nasty.
It's just gross. So anyway, so
no,
RJ,
the majority of the people watching are agreeing that they think it would be a great product. They said yes, I love the hand sanitizer. Jonathan May says.
But are you going to actually buy it?
Roz Bretcher says not a bad price.
I don't know. I mean, all I need to do is order up a bunch of hand sanitizer, and then all of a sudden Purell comes out at the dollar store for $1, and everybody goes, "Oh, I'll just use this cheap junk and ruin my skin."
But it's not the same thing.
No, of course it's not. But people like to.
Yeah. Jada Stanley says, "Please do it for the healthcare workers." They said yes. If it was like a serum, yes, it would be totally worth it.
Yeah, serum. That's a good way of putting it. Like a
sanitizing serum.
Sanitizing serum. Jason, write that down. Thank you. That was very clever. Anyway, so RJ had an exam today. He had 2 papers due. He has an exam tomorrow, and he's finished with the second semester or this year of college. Oh my God! Thank God! Thank God! You have to go to MIT to take these classes. It's not easy. And the kids are stressed out, and they miss the dorm, and they miss their friends, and they miss the school experience. And I said to him, he has not complained once. I said, you are so lucky, because now you will see the difference between what it's like in the real world with kids that can't afford to go to college and your luxury posh life when you can go back to the dorm.
Oh, bless you.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Something
God.
made me sneeze.
Where's the mask?
Where's the mask? I have them.
Jonathan May says that he thinks the idea of the sanitizer is great, but he would also like for it to be anti-aging for the hands. If there's like something.
Oh my
you can
God, Jason, write that down. It's got to be anti-aging serum, moisturizing.
Right. Just take everything else and mix it together.
Yeah, let's just make a cake. So RJ finished his last piece of birthday cake. He had his birthday during quarantine, so I ordered him one of those T-shirts that said, "I spent my 19th birthday in quarantine." Anyway, he had his last piece of chocolate cake that his teacher mailed him. So the strawberry place where we order the strawberries, Jason? Yeah. They also sell birthday cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Anyway, she ordered him one. It was delicious.
Cherries, berries,
90% of it. Yeah. And then I told you the dog got the stitches, so we got that done. Oh, listen to this. I'm talking about how horrible everything in the world is, and is it ever going to get back to normal? The Hermes store in China
right.
sold $2.7 million the first day they reopened.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that?
And last week, Louis Vuitton and Gucci reported huge sales the first day they opened. They said millions.
Shoppers are always going to be shoppers, but I'm thinking about these Birkin bags now, and I'm like, you can't even really carry them anywhere because you can't spray them down and sanitize them without ruining the leather. So you're going to have to carry it and then sit it out somewhere for 48 hours to make sure all the germs are dead. I don't know. Oh, God. Okay. Oh, here's our testimonial for the week. I have been a fan of your CBD eye cream for about 6 months. I just tried your Sudden Youth Lift Mask. Wow. It's like a glimpse back into my face 10 years ago. Your products are amazing, and I'm loving them. That's from Mitzi Kuntz. Oh, that mask? Are you kidding? That mask irons out everything. Opens up the pores, cleans them out, helps get rid of the impurities, it irons it out, it tightens it, it tones it, it lifts it up. I mean, come on. We're selling it at half off at $75. It's like 7 to 8 to 10 facials, depending on if you use it on your chest and all the way up your neck and your face, or just your face or whatever. That mask it's been our #1 product since 1984. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Select CBD skincare, 50% off beauty bundles from $90. Oh, and handbags. We have our handbags on sale again for the summer. Okay, well, you can carry these handbags because they're all crystal, so you'll be able to spritz the crystal without ruining it. So that's a bag you can carry now. So let's talk about this stupid virus. I tell you, I can't take it anymore. Half of the states are starting to open, even though they haven't met the guidelines. Now they're saying, there was a survey that was done that said, if you don't wear a mask and I don't have a mask on, but the person next to me has a mask, but I have the virus. Even if he has the mask, there's a 70% chance of him getting it.
Right.
If I have a mask and the guy next to me doesn't have a mask, but I have the virus, there's only a 5% chance of him getting it. But if I have a mask and the person next to me has a mask and I have the virus or that person has the virus, there's only 1.5% chance of getting the virus. So if you are carrying the virus, whether you're symptomatic or not, and you don't have a mask on, there is a 70% chance of you spreading it to whoever you're around. Mm-hmm. If you have the mask on and you have the virus, even if they don't, there's only a 5% chance. But if you both have a mask on, then it's only 1.5% chance. So everybody's got to wear a mask. So now you watch Louis Vuitton, Chanel, they're all going to come out with
they all have them
glamorous, fabulous masks. Now, I was thinking if I was going to invent a mask, this is what I would do. I would have a mask that came up to here, okay, and then I'd have this one that came down to here. So when you're in a bar, you can pull the bottom half down and make a little hole to put a straw in it so you can still drink. Isn't that clever? Or eat with a spoon. You see, you got to have that little hole. But then when you're not using that little hole, it's got to cover up.
Right.
So there you go. There's a $1 billion idea for some fashion designer.
Mm-hmm. Sarah Gaynor says, masks in Florida are rough but necessary. Jesse DeFrieda says, I'm over this virus. Sylvia Daughtery from the UK says, if you wear a mask, you're protecting those around you.
Yep. But, you know, a lot of people are just selfish and don't care.
Oh, yeah, they don't get it.
So now the prisons. Oh, my God, all these prisons are infected and infected and infected. And they're letting a few people out that are white-collar criminals, but what they should be doing, they should have a system. If you've served 50% or 70% or 90% or whatever it's going to be, or if you're over a certain age, it should be consistent. They should let them home arrest and put the ankle bracelets on, because and then make more room in the prisons for the criminals that are a risk to society so they can spread them out. And then they should have the protective equipment for them. They should have the mask and the gloves. And, you know, I mean, the criminals probably like the gloves. A lot of them are used to breaking in with gloves. No, I'm kidding. But they should have the mask and the gloves. And then they should have the sanitizers and the soap. Some of these prisons don't even have the soap.
Yeah, no,
they definitely don't have the sanitizers. So that's bothering me. Now, apparently, Michael Cohen was going to get out. And they announced he was going to get out. That's the guy that testified against Trump.
His fixer.
Apparently, they're not going to let him out now.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
I don't know whatever happened, but I tell you what, if he didn't get out, it's because the president and Barr put their thumb on the deal. I'll have to find that out. But he was announced he was getting out, and then it was announced that it was on hold. So let's see. 97% of the people in 4 different prisons that they tested as a cross section tested positive. That's a lot.
Lakeisha Bunn says, what about the homeless? They're also at risk.
Oh, my God. Why? You know, I don't understand why doesn't the government make affordable housing for the homeless? Just most of them have mental illnesses, or they're sick, or they're disabled, and just make affordable housing and put them in there. A lot of them get little government disability checks or little government, you know, checks. Cut that in half, give them enough for food, or give them certificates for food to go down and get their food, pay their rent, get them off the streets. Nobody wants to live on the street. If they're on the street, they've got a mental problem, or they've got a physical problem, or they've just come up on hard times. You've got to get these people off the street. This is the richest country in the world. We have the means to do it. We were able to give $4 billion in tax cut, $4 trillion in tax cuts to the billionaires 2 years ago. Why couldn't we take care of some of these homeless people on the streets and actually teach them a trade? Like now is a perfect example. They could teach them how to make masks. They could all be making masks. They could teach them how to make gowns. They could be making gowns, just like in the old days when they had the people in the prisons making the license plate. But give them something to do to be useful and get them off the streets. I can't anymore. So now
they're all agreeing with you on that. They said that also the judge was not happy with Cohen, and that's why he did not get it.
Yeah.
He said he did not feel like
not
he took.
Happy.
Said it feels like that he did not take responsibility for his crime.
That's not the point. The point is he doesn't get the death penalty because the judge wasn't happy with him. So he's going to get the death penalty by catching COVID because the judge wasn't happy with him? that's not the point. They're missing the point. That is just torture. They're punishing him. They've got it in for him. And Barr's picked up the phone and said, hey, you're not letting him out. He's against my president. Oh, my God.
Sylvia Daughtery says, if temporary hospitals can be built in a week, surely they can do accommodations for the homeless.
Of course they can. They don't want to.
Exactly.
They just consider them like trash on the street.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is a deal. Frankie Gonzalez says in California there's a deal with Motel 6 to temporarily house the homeless during this. And I had seen that on TV, that they had worked out deals with some of them.
Some people are trying, but it shouldn't be temporary. They've got to get the permanent solution.
It doesn't fix the problem.
Yeah. Okay, so did you guys see the AK-47s went to Michigan with all their swastikas and all their Nazi signs, and they stormed the Capitol of the air to punish that nasty woman that Trump doesn't like, that won't liberate Minnesota and Michigan and Virginia? So he tweets out, liberate these places. What does he expect? All the nut jobs take their guns and go to liberate them. Meanwhile, they're not following the guidelines set up by the White House, and they're saying, open up, open up, open up. Oh, follow these guidelines. So that way, if you open up and you didn't follow the guidelines, well, it was your own fault. You shouldn't have opened up. You didn't follow the guidelines. But he wants to open up the economy because the only thing, they've already moved on to the election. The virus is over with. They don't care about it. It's done. Let's start talking about the rallies now. Oh, my God. By the way, life has changed forever. After this pandemic, it's going to be another one, and then there's going to be the climate change, and then there's going to be floods, and then there's going to be fires, and then there's going to be earthquakes, and there's going to be volcanoes, and then you're going to have this pandemic, and then another one if they get a vaccine for this one. The world has changed. Why can't we wake up and realize, until you take care of the least amongst us, the rest of us can't have a decent life? And why can't we just take care of the people and everybody make a little less and take care of the people that need it, and then take care of the planet? The planet is so happy right now. They've been showing pictures everywhere that you can see the Himalaya mountains from India for the first time, and they can remember. In LA, they showed before, during, and after COVID, and now it's crystal clear. Well, LA 20 years ago, you had to wear a mask because your eyes would water and you cough and sneeze because there was so much stuff in the air. Now it's clear. They cleared it up because when they would put in the emissions control, but then now they want to deregulate the emissions control. What?
Two people at the same time, Sarah Gaynor and Lakeisha Bunn, both at the time said murder hornets. Because have you heard about that this week?
Yes.
The murder hornets have come in. So yeah, that's another pestilence. That's going to be another part of it.
It's going to be one thing after the other because we're not taking care of the planet, and the planet has said, we've had enough of you human beings. Yeah. Notice the lions in South Africa are living out in the middle, sleeping on the streets. The goats in these little towns in Switzerland or Sweden or wherever walking the streets and roaming. The animals are just happy. The air is clean. The water is more fresh. Because they're like, we've had it with you human beings. We've given you one warning after the other. We gave you the fires. We gave you the floods. We gave you the volcanoes. We gave you the earthquakes. We gave you the storms. We gave you the tornadoes. We're trying to tell you, wake up, and you won't hear it. So now we're going to give you a virus. And then that's going to put your ass at home. And then Trump's like, I don't believe in science. I want you guys to inject some Lysol and some alcohol into your lungs and give them a really deep cleansing. Oh my God. I can't. Now, here are the things you can take to strengthen your immune system. Vitamins D and C, ginger, honey, turmeric, lemon, bone broth, apples, garlics, MAITAKE mushrooms, and bell peppers. So you need to boost your immune system right now, everybody. Boost it, boost it. So, in Beverly Hills, they announced that plastic surgery is an essential service.
They finally did this week. People were freaking out. Jeff was talking about that on his show.
I mean, it's essential. It is essential to have plastic surgery in Beverly Hills. Otherwise, you don't get to be 20 years old or whatever it is that they want to all be. I mean, it's hilarious. I think that's so funny.
I saw some doctors we know here in town who are real happy they get to open Monday.
Oh, they do get to open Monday?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go anyway right now because I feel like unless you have to, it's a risk. They don't have it under control yet, you know? So I think they kind of need to, like, if you don't have to go to the doctor, put it off a little bit, don't you think? I mean, why go and take a risk? Because, you know, people are sick and a lot of traffic, a lot of valet people parking your car, you know, the equipment that you touch. I just think if you can put it off, you put it off. I don't know.
I was supposed to have a doctor's appointment this week that I've already canceled from last month, and I'm planning on moving it again because I don't. Apparently, they're doing the teleconferencing with the doctor, and then they tell you, you know, this is what time you show up at the hospital. Then we call you from your car, and you come in and get your test results or, you know, blood work or whatever you need to do.
Yeah, I don't know if you really need it,
but
you
doing.
Don't. Okay, so this firefighter's little 5-year-old daughter died from it. So it is not just an old folks disease.
No.
It is not just immune disease. 27-year-old died from it, an 18-year-old died from it, a 5-year-old died from it. Nursing homes are dying from it, but it's across the board. There are a lot of people in their 40s that are dying from it. They're saying even the younger people are getting strokes. So even if you don't die from it, you definitely don't want a stroke. So everybody's got to take care of themselves. In Miami, there are 7,800 infections. In Hialeah, 1,566. Hollywood, 1,200, almost 1,300. Orlando, 1,000. Jacksonville, 1,000. Tampa, 800. Miami Beach, 700. West Palm Beach, 600. And Homestead, 500. That's what they're reporting. But they're only reporting it if they have the test. And this tests are very scarce. So I think the state is lying to us. I think there's a lot more, and I think a lot of these deaths that they're not counting, if you didn't take the test and you had a heart attack because of the virus, they're putting it as a heart attack. If you didn't have the test and you get pneumonia because of it, they're putting pneumonia because they're trying to keep the numbers down to boost the economy and, of course, to keep Trump happy. Oh my God. Now in New York, they're so smart. If you're missing Governor Cuomo's press conference every day, it's usually 11, 11:30, 12. It is so good. It's so informative. So what they're doing there, they're going to now scrub down the subways every night between 1 and 4 or 1 and 5. All the public transportation is going to be scrubbed down because what he's saying is I can't ask you as an essential worker, which is things that keep the city running and the doctors and the nurses, to go to work if I can't protect you when you're getting there and back. So they're going to start doing that. I mean, I think that was like over and beyond and amazing that they're doing it. And then thousands of people sent masks to New York to help them. And he put a big collage of it on the wall the other day and showed it. It was amazing how many people made masks, homemade masks, and sent it to New York to help the workers there. So that was pretty amazing. And, you know, the other thing they were pointing out, you know, they're bragging that they shut down China in February. Well, they also sent them all of our emergency supply equipment February 9th. But they did shut down the flights from China to the West Coast. But guess what they didn't shut down? All the flights from Europe to the East Coast. So all those people went to the UK, they went to Europe, they came in through the New York airports. Coupled with the density of New York, that is why the disease has spread so much in New York as compared to everybody else. So apparently New York says that they pay in an extra $16 billion a year to the federal government than they take out, and that they've been doing that for a decade. Kentucky takes out $148 billion a year more than they put in. But Mitch McConnell is saying we're not going to bail out New York because they're a blue state. I'm sorry. That is wrong on so many levels. People are dying. Social workers people are flying from all over the world to go there and work to try to help contain this pandemic, and you're going to just let them die? And then let's say they don't have all the equipment they need, and then on top of that, now the state goes broke and they can't afford to pay the firemen, the nurses, you know, the street cleaners, the bus drivers, the subway people. I mean, how can you do that? The economy is never going to bounce back. If every city isn't thriving, you've got New York's like the money hub of the world. You've got to help bail out New York. And you're not bailing them out. You're just giving them back part of the money they paid in. Oh, my God. So Senator Warren's brother died from the virus. Representative Wilson tweeted that her sister was dying from the virus. So it hits everybody. There are 30 million people unemployed right now, and the unemployment lines in Florida. Did you see that?
Yeah, it's
they
awful.
are doing everything they can
Yeah, it's horrible.
To keep people from getting unemployment. They're making it where you're going to wait in line 20 hours and then go there, and then there's going to be a technicality that you didn't have this right or that right or your paperwork right or your ID right or your job right or whatever, and then you're going to go back again. And it's taking forever to get this money, this unemployment.
Nobody I know has received any of theirs.
It's terrible.
Most of them
they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, they're doing it on purpose.
They're doing it on purpose. They don't want people to take the unemployment checks. They're just going to give up eventually. And then on top of that, the food banks, the lines at the Homestead, they said there was, 3,000 cars in line to get food?
Yep.
And by the way, if they cut down that meat packing thing, nobody ever died from not eating steak, pork, or eat something else. Eat vegetables, eat fruit, eat crackers, eat nuts, eat ice cream. You don't need those food factories with the meat in order to eat. No one's going to die from not eating meat for a month or two or three or the rest of their life. But a lot of people are going to die if you force them to go in unsafe conditions to produce it. I mean, we need to get our values straight. I'm burnt out with everybody.
Yeah.
There's no testing strategy, and we're into May. Remember 4 weeks ago, Trump stood there. Anybody that wants a test can get a test. They're readily available. They're not readily available. You still can't get a test. Oh, God. Oh, and then they fired the pandemic expert because the pandemic expert came out and said that you couldn't count on hydrochloroquine, that there wasn't enough research. So Vince Trump had been touting and buying like 127 million pills of it or whatever to put in the storage thing. They fired the woman, the doctor that came out and said that you can't make those claims, so they fired her. You can't do this to people. I'm just unbelievable.
I saw just we've had a busy morning here, but while you were doing some of the other things, the guy that was in charge of the vaccine that they fired, he filed a whistleblower complaint, said that January was the first time he had ever done it. So, yep, they filed a complaint.
So you know what? All you public servants, stand up for the truth. Nobody's asking you to lie about it or make it political. Just tell the truth because Trump's lying about it.
Yes.
They're shutting down the task force because they don't want these doctors telling the truth to the American people.
Yeah, and they forbid them to testify today. All of the task force members are not allowed to do it.
You know what? I hope they all go on TV and spill the beans. I hope they all put in whistleblower reports. I hope they all write publications, and I hope they all come clean.
Yep.
Because these people are not political. They just want to save lives. They're doctors. I mean, they're not sitting there deciding. They just want the truth. So, you know what? Someone was telling me the other day, I can't remember, Brendan, I think. One of their friends the family flew to France in the end of February. The kid was 27 years old, was on a respirator for 3 weeks. He came out of it after 3 weeks. They didn't think he would. The family would not have gone to France if they would have known this virus was over there. They didn't know. If Trump was able to tell Israel in November, he was able to tell the American people when he got the daily briefing on January 3rd saying this pandemic is coming our way. Well, he should have just said, there's a pandemic, be aware of it, here are the symptoms, take precautions. A lot of people would have changed their travel habits. A lot of people would have changed a lot of things. People would have been aware of it, but no one had a clue. So a lot of these people that were infected and ultimately died weren't even warned about it. You don't get to do that. Like in a hurricane in Miami, they start the warnings 4 days ahead. Some people go crazy. They take extra precautions, spend all this time, all this money, and all this work for extra precautions, and then the hurricane doesn't come. They don't care. They were willing to do it. It was a risk they were willing to take. Other people, like when the big hurricane came, sat out on the balcony of their high-rises, and 20 or 30 of them got swooped out into the ocean. Remember that? Because they didn't they didn't believe it. It was a hoax, I guess, or whatever. Or it wasn't going to be that bad. So, but people have the right to make that decision for their own lives. But you can only make intelligent decisions if you have accurate information. So that just really burned me right up.
We need to do our 5-second commercial break real quick, and we'll be right back. And we're back.
So there was a poll 76% of the people do not think you should open restaurants yet. 68% of the people don't think that you should be forced to go to work right now. And 80% of the people think you should stay home. And 82% of the people think you should limit your gatherings to 10 people. The American people are smarter than the administration. They're smarter. I can't. All right, let's move on. Oh my God. Oh, I want to give you this. The new list of symptoms: fever, chills, repeated shaking, muscle cramps, headaches, sore throats, and the lack of taste and smell. But not everybody has all of those. But if you have any of them, you should put your radar up, you know?
Yeah, and they're saying that even after you go through the virus, that you're coming out on the other side, that some of these are lingering, these symptoms.
Yeah, they're also saying you can catch it more than once.
Yep.
There was a theory at one time, if you had it, you had the antibodies. Now they're not so sure. You may or may not.
There's at least two versions of it we know of,
yeah.
And so one doesn't apply to the other sometimes. So.
Well, that's the other thing. They said the version that came out of China was far less severe than the version that came out of Italy.
Yeah.
So that's why the East Coast got hit so hard compared to the West Coast. 2 men in Georgia drank disinfectant to prevent the viruses and wound up in the hospital, but fortunately they didn't die. Then Pence pranced himself over to the hospital at the Mayo Clinic, and he didn't wear his little face mask because he's better than everybody else. Oh my God. Well, this is what is going to change in our lives. There's an article saying the future with Corona. How much is it? What's going to change? Well, restaurants that serve food to the masses are going to have to change how they do business, or they won't survive. No buffets, no crowded small restaurants, no stands or trucks with food, no unwrapped food. Fresh fruit will have to be sealed and packaged. Ultraviolet lights will be required in kitchens and food preparation facilities. Weekly bacterial and viral inspections will be done. Workers will be screened when they report to work by a qualified healthcare worker. Healthcare insurance will be required for essential workers at plants. This will protect against foodborne infections, one of the highest sources of infections. Wild animals will not be allowed to enter the commercial food chain without FDA approval. Well, guess what? We should be doing all that anyway. Mm-hmm. Why are we doing all that anyway?
Exactly.
That's just ridiculous. School and work environments and classrooms will have to limit the size to prevent infection. So the school cafeterias will have to be treated just like the restaurants. Food handlers in the school will have to be treated that way. Distancing rules will be institutionalized. The assemblies are not going to exceed a safe number of participants. Oh my God, it goes on. Bathroom cleaning is going to be required. Desks are going to be cleared after each period. Each room is going to have ultraviolet sterilized lights upon closing. Social distancing is going to become the normal everywhere. It's going to be handshaking. There's going to be hugs. There's not going to be smoking or vaping or anything, including water will be banned. All these rules will be enforced by the health departments, all human services, businesses, and hairdressers, nails, massages, grooming, makeup, dentists, doctors, physical therapists, nurses, etc. All of it's going to be monitored. Masks are going to be worn with any people, more than 5 people, and workers and clients in any location. Mm-hmm. Daily bathing and washing of the hair and the face. There's going to be less men with hair on their face. All this should be going on anyway. Nursing homes will become smaller, more regulated, more closely monitored. Same for prisons, hotels. There's so many people in prison that don't need to be there. Let me ask you something. If you committed a financial crime, should you get 30 years in jail? No. If you kill somebody, it's another story. You usually go to jail for a period of time and then go make restitution, pay back the money. I mean, you can't just put people in jail for 30 years. Some of them go in when they're 40, they get a 50-year sentence, they die in jail. Don't need to over punish people. Hospitals are going to experience less ER visits. Urgent cares and doctors are going to become busier than hospitals. Surgical style techniques are going to be taught to operating staffs. Oh my God, can you imagine having an operation during all this? More people are going to walk, take bicycles or individual vehicles to work. More people will bring their lunches. Oh my God. Outdoor seating in restaurants will appear as well. So that's better to eat outside, obviously. Libraries, theaters, bowling alleys are going to be forced into social distancing. Drive-in movies may make a comeback. I love the drive-in movies. these are the kind of things that are probably, some of those are probably going to be done.
Did you have that article I sent you about the airlines?
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing. It's like, so now the airlines are, they're forging ahead and kind of carving out the path moving forward.
Yeah.
So you can pay to have someone not sit in the middle seat next to you, which I wish that would have always been a feature.
They used to argue with you about that.
Yeah. So, but now you can pay an extra fee so no one sits next to you. They're going to start requiring everyone to do that. But they also said that food and drinks and beverages and all that are no longer going to be offered.
Yeah.
And people who fly, business or first class will be given like a packed sandwich and fruit before they actually enter the plane.
They should do this anyway. I've always been reluctant to eat airline food. I've always taken on something if it was a really long flight. Once in a while, if you're in first class and there aren't a lot of people, you'll eat or you'll have something. But for the most part, you can't count on that food being that good.
The thing is the alcohol.
20,000 people handle it before it gets to you.
Yeah, and then they're not going to have alcohol on domestic flights now.
Well, that isn't going to hurt anybody either. I wonder if people are going to be getting drunk before they get on the plane.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. They're going to get wasted before they get.
Let you take on your own alcohol.
No, you can't. You're not allowed. And unless you can't take a drink on the plane. I know that. And if you have a bottle or something, you have to notify them that you're checking it in.
Yeah, but I'm wondering though, if after you get through security, they're going to let you buy those little bottles.
Oh yeah, you can buy those and take them on.
And bring on your own little paper plate.
For sure.
People are going to figure out a way to drink. If they have to have a straw all the way from 30,000 feet down to the bar, they're going to figure out how to drink on that plane.
That's about right. That's about right.
going to happen. Oh my God. Well, and look at the things that we used to take for granted. Now you wear your jewelry, metal, holds onto the virus longer than any other time. You're not going to want to wear your jewelry as much anymore. You go into a restaurant, you're not going to be able to sit around and have fun at a big party. You're going to be like, hi, hey, James, how you doing over there? Good. Jason, can I get you another drink? It's going to be more like that. Oh, meanwhile, you're going to have your mask on, but then you're going to put a hole in the middle of it to put your straw through that hole and then cover it up with probably a piece of tape, like masking tape. I mean, you're not going to want to carry your Hermes bags because when you get home, you're not going to want to sanitize them and ruin that leather. I mean, it's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be different. You're not going to dress as nice when you go in the stores because you're going to be worried about what's going to catch the virus. And am I going to want to leave this out in the sun for 12 hours when I get home or send it to the dry cleaners 100 times and ruin it? So things are going to be different, I think. In royalty news. So it turns out that when Princess Diana died, she left her jewelry to the two sons. And Harry had picked the blue sapphire ring that Kate wears now. And they had all picked what they wanted. Well, when William got engaged, Harry said to William, wouldn't it be nice if Mummy's wedding ring was worn by Kate and would be on the throne one day? And he gave the ring to the other one, to Prince William. And now that's the ring that Kate wears. Isn't that the sweetest thing? Mm-hmm. And I'm so mad at the way that Kate and William have allowed this to happen with Meghan and Harry. They should have stood behind them. They should have made a forceful stand behind them. They should have stood up to them against the tabloids, and they should have done a lot of things. And I really personally believe a lot of those leaks that come out of that palace against them were leaked intentionally by people that are perhaps jealous.
Well, I have to tell you that people are they're not doing well with that lawsuit with the press. The press has actually won the first two rounds.
That's right, yeah. They have. She hired the same lawyer that Princess Diana hired. You're not going to win against the press. No. That's not going to happen. But what you can do against the press is have your entire family stand up with you and deny these allegations and say, we are not going to leak stories, we are not going to participate in interviews, we are not going to talk to these press outlets that are doing these things to our family, instead of turning a blind eye and smiling like it's not happening. Mm-hmm. Oh, so Prince and Kate had their 9-year anniversary the other day. And now, of course, Boris Johnson had his baby boy and with his fiance, and he's over the virus now. And let's see what he says. Let's see how they open up the UK, because there's been a big controversy, and I think people are going to say, listen, honey, you had this, you know what it's like, you better be careful. Well, the one thing the Queen travels with that I didn't know, she travels with her own teapot. Oh, I'm going to have to get a teapot to travel with. And yeah, Meghan sued the tabloids, and she's losing so far, but that's just not going to happen. And then when the letters came out and were made public, that back and forth between her and her dad and Harry, it made Meghan and Harry look really good. Yeah. They did everything they could to accommodate that father, and then he turned on them like that. So good for, I hope that they become billionaire success icons. And the Housewives. Oh, well, Miami's going to be on Friday.
It's contagious.
I'll be under the sheets with my head covered.
The virus continues.
And we're still getting comments from the last show that was on 2 weeks ago when they did season 3. This is going to be season 2. Yeah. In Beverly Hills, Brandy posted that she is off social media regarding Denise because Bravo doesn't want her to talk about anything they wanted to air out on television. Let me tell you, that girl, whatever you say or do with her, just know she's going to put it out there. Yeah. So, you know, listen, you can't blame her.
Well, they did something because she shut up real fast.
Well,
and
Bravo
she hasn't
shut her
I
up,
think they filed like they told her she had an injunction.
Well, she's under contract,
and
you're on there under contract, but I can tell you one thing: she didn't want to burn her bridges with them either. But you're under contract that you can't tell your storyline. You know, it has to play out on TV. But so this storyline with Denise, that's going to be groundbreaking.
I know, and you know what else? Lisa Rinna posted something the other day. She said the season is not going to go the direction everybody thinks it is. They're going to be very surprised when all of these little like alliances kind of start forming. You're going to be surprised, she said. So, so I'm anxious to see what happens.
I'm always on the side of the truth. Even if I can't stand you, if you're right, then I'm going to stand up for it. Mm-hmm. If you're telling the truth, I'm going to stand up for it. If I love you to death and you're wrong, I'm going to tell you. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way I am. And I think everybody should be that way, but people choose not to be, that's fine. But I don't think you can ever go wrong by just telling the truth and doing what's fair. And you just got to be fair. Like Dave Hampton always says, you got to be fair. Anyway.
I like the new women on the show. I mean, I'm not sure about Sutton.
Out on that.
Sutton I'm kind of out on. I like Garcelle, but she's not done much yet.
Yeah, but that Sutton's not really on there. She's not holding one of those diamonds.
Well, no, because I read she was supposed to have it. Bravo announced it last year, but then I guess her ex-husband did not want the kids on.
Is that what it was?
Didn't want the kids on the show at the last hour, and that's why.
Well, she doesn't need the kids. Well, I mean, not everybody needs an entourage.
I think they require you to have the kids and family on if you hold a diamond.
You know what? They can require it all day long, but the kids most time don't add anything.
Yeah.
The husbands don't really usually add anything, and a lot of these women can carry the shows on their own. But so that's what happened.
My favorite thing last week was when Denise kept going, people are following us, and social media went crazy. And we're like, tell them they're on a reality show. People are following them.
Yeah, but then, that husband talking about
production.
The vibrations and all the energy, there is a lot to that.
Yes.
When I go to LA, I am going to go to his office, and I am going to check that out. I'm telling you, there is a lot to the vibration intercepting disease, and so he didn't know how to explain it well. He's not a salesman, obviously.
No, it was
and
very
he did
funny.
A bad job of explaining it, and it made him sound like a little bit of a kook. But there's a lot of science behind that. I'm gonna go out there. When I do go, I want to go to that clinic, and I want to do an evaluation, and I want to see what they have to offer, because I really think there is a lot of science behind that. I'm telling you, I know that for sure. Anyway, in Orange County, Jim Edmonds finally went public with his affair that he was having while he was married, and he's complaining, of course, about child support.
And it's the girl they had the three-way with. That's who it is.
Nothing good's ever going to come out of that, just so you know.
No.
And so in New York, that party with the dildo and the chicken.
Oh my gosh. New York is like, it's on such a different level than any of the other franchises. It is one of the best comedies ever on television.
You really couldn't make it up. You couldn't write it. But that's who these women are.
Oh my God, Sonia
God bless them. And then their fashion show, I mean, God bless her. She's trying. And she, I mean, my heart goes out to her. She was living this life of grandness, and then it got ripped out from under her, no fault of her own. And now she's struggling to make it on her own. And she is, one side of her is very elegant and sophisticated and worldly. And then there's that other side. And when that other side shows up, it's fun to watch. But my heart breaks for her because I'm like, you're so much more genuine than this. She's got a heart of gold. She doesn't have a mean bone in her body.
No.
I've known her. I met her at the Cannes Film Festival. I don't even know, back when I went, not when I went for the fundraiser, but when I went before, I was staying on it was on the Williamson yacht. I met her then. And she's just a charming person, but when that side of her comes out, I just cringe.
She's great. You know John Oliver that does Last Week Tonight, that show on HBO? He was on Watch What Happens Live this week, and they asked him who his favorite housewife, but he says he loves the New York housewives, and he says he tends to like the ones that are borderline psychotic. He said, so Sonia. That's what he said.
Well, it's obvious that it's Andy's favorite franchise.
Yeah. I like the new Leah girl, too. I think she's going to hold her own.
Yeah,
I think
she's going to hold her on.
She certainly made a splash,
Oh,
literally.
you're talking about the new girls in Beverly Hills. The Sutton, she's just fascinating in a way.
Yeah, she is.
And, that just shows you that it's not always the most gorgeous ones and the movie stars that are interesting.
Yes.
She's interesting in a different way.
Right.
And her currency is money.
Correct.
And she makes no bones about it.
And she speaks yachts.
And she speaks in yachts. Exactly. And Dom Perignon. And I mean, it's a whole nother level. It's a whole nother world. And I know a lot of people that live in that world. And it's fun to visit. I wouldn't personally want to be in that all the time.
Right.
But it's fun. They're fun to visit. They're fun to go on their yachts with around the world for a while. It's fun to get on their plane. But they live in another world. Like going and spending $50,000 on a couture gown to wear one time. I mean, they live in another world. I would spend $2,000 and put $48,000 towards the homeless people. My neighborhood. It's a whole nother mindset. But she embraces it. She is not going to pretend that that's not who she is, and that's why she's kind of authentic and interesting. Now, the other one, I'm not so sure about yet. She really has a. She talks too much about sex. Just like she's trying too hard.
Who, Garcelle?
But when you do that, it's like you're trying too hard to throw out something to get some buzz going. The jury's out on her. She's gorgeous.
She's beautiful.
And I'm sure she's going to probably work out fine. She has a relationship with one of the girls. I can't remember which one. Denise, yeah. But I'm not so sure. I'm not even sure about either one of them yet. I mean, they may not be sustainable. On the other hand, they may be there in the next 20 years. Listen, by the way, how are they going to continue to film these shows?
Well, that's it. I mean, they've had to put the production on halt. They moved after they announced the release dates for Potomac, they moved it to the summer. Today was actually supposed to be the premiere of Potomac.
What's going to happen? They don't have a vaccine. The virus is still off the charts. It's still climbing up. More people are dying. There is no vaccine. There's not enough testing to know if you had it. How are you going to have a crew and a cast going on trips, going on planes, the cast in people's homes, around the kids, around the parents, interacting at dinner parties, getting drunk at the restaurants, falling all over each other, sharing liquor at the party, eating out of each other? How are you going to have all that going on with this virus?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
How it's going to happen.
I think it's going to be interesting, too. I think the first sign of how all this is playing out is going to be this Atlanta reunion that they had to do virtually to see what that's going to be like.
You know what? It might be interesting, but it's like I watched The Voice last night, and it was really good. And I loved seeing the people perform the raw talent. But it's not the same. And I don't know how reality TV is going to be sustainable.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult.
I just don't. I mean, it may come back in a couple of years, but listen, it's just like the Miami Housewives. You're off the air 2 or 3 years, it's over. They're going to be off the air 2 years, some of them. Mm-hmm. How is that going to be sustainable? How is that going to be a comeback? Their lives are going to change. They're not going to be interacting. They're still not going to be free just to go and stay all in one hotel room or one little house for a week at a time. Mm-hmm. I don't see how reality TV is going to be sustainable. So when the Writers Guild went on strike is when the reality TV took off.
That's what happened.
So now what's going to happen is all these writers are now going to have an opportunity for scripted TV, and the TV that's going to be scripted, they're going to script it in their mind about how they could produce it and shoot it safely. I just think reality
You still
TV
have to have a
may be going
production
down.
crew either way. Jennifer Clements Hall says, everyone waited for Teresa to get out of jail. We will wait patiently for them to pick up production.
Well, it's going to be a while. Okay. In Orange County, that on the first season, the woman Gina Coe, her husband, her ex-husband died, and her daughter's son was born stillborn.
I know, they had a really bad month.
They had a bad run of it.
Yeah.
In Jersey, Joe's appeal was denied. Who was the first person that told you that is going to be denied, and he is not going to be? It's not. It's done. It's done.
Yep.
And Teresa's father died. That was very sad. And Caroline Monzo's father also died. That's also very sad. In Beverly Hills, the new ladies, we talked about that. Richards, we talked about that. So there's that. And then let's see, did anyone miss Vanderpump, or nobody misses it?
No, and you know what? The ratings have been pretty good, and I think the show feels different. It feels lighter right now, so I'm happy with it. I'm not missing her.
Well, it's going to be a different set of drama. It won't be that drama. It'll be somebody else will be the drama. In New York, we talked about that one. We talked about the Hamptons. We talked about, oh my God, I'm telling you, I predicted this. I said when the season started, I don't know if I said it out to you or on this podcast, but I said it, how long before Luann starts drinking again?
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're advertising as part of it was part of the trailer. She's absolutely. And you know what? This is what I think about it. Remember back during the reunion when Bethany said Bravo paid for the recovery, and she got, there was this whole thing about Luann doing that. And then there was, about the same time, all of this backlash about production having alcohol around and the women partaking too much and things like that. There was a lot of this backlash going on with that. I feel like now, it's just become part of her storyline, and they've almost encouraged her kind of in a way. I mean, how could you be around those women for the last two episodes and not drink?
That's the point.
And Bravo said that her going to rehab was a catalyst on her getting a contract.
If you're a drinker.
Right.
Like, I'm not a drinker. I could have a glass of wine or not. I could have a martini or not. I've probably never had 2 martinis or 2 glasses of wine, but I could or not. But some people, when they start, they can't stop. And some people, it's a crutch. They like it. They either like the taste of it, or they like the way it feels, or they just like it. Mm-hmm. If you're a drinker and you have to give that up, it's not going to be easy.
No.
So for people like even Roy, like, we could drink or not drink, For us, it wouldn't even matter. But there are people, they just like the cigarettes, they're either addicted or not, and they can't give it up. I mean, I wouldn't get near a cigarette. I'd be coughing for a month with a sinus infection. The liquor, if everyone's around me pressuring me, oh, you never drink, okay, I'll have a glass of wine, okay, I'll have a martini. If no one orders, I don't order. If I'm around someone I know they can't drink, I'm probably not going to order anything, even if everyone else does, just because I'm like, I don't want them to feel like I'm drinking and they can't. So I don't understand how you can have this problem, if it's a real problem, not if it's just a social problem. Yeah. If it's a real problem, and be around all these people that are drinking all the time and not drink.
And
how are you going to do it?
And I'm just going to tell you something. I know we're running long, but the thing is that, did you notice, I think the reason she left, remember, she left overnight after they were all drinking, and Luann, she left the Hamptons and went somewhere to the other place. I think she left because she wanted to drink, and she knew she couldn't in front of them, because this week she starts drinking.
Oh, is it this week?
Yeah.
I feel bad for her, but I just
do as well.
don't think you can be in that part of the recovery is just not putting yourself in an environment where you're going to drink. She's on the wrong show. She needs to go to a show where the girls don't get drunk all the time.
Right.
I'm sure there's one. I'm sure you can find one. There's plenty of them out there that don't get drunk. But that is part of the core of New York. They're all drinkers.
Yes, they are.
So I feel bad for her, but I don't think it's sustainable. I said that in the beginning, and I think she's going to probably have to start drinking again, and I feel bad. But anyway, and by the way, she's got to be depressed. She can't do her shows because the virus. She can't drink because of the drinking problem. And now there's no shooting films.
Yeah, she's been doing cameos and live broadcasts on her Instagram. I've been watching. So, yeah.
How far is that going to take you? All right, so Leah's life lesson. I'm going to save all this for the next time. Leah's life lesson. I must be psychic. I wrote this like a long time ago. Think ahead. And now's the time. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll see you guys another time. Stay
Thank
safe.
you all.
Bye.
And make sure you shop leahblack.com and use the podcast code for 50% off for Mother's Day.
Yay!
Bye.